Joining us now is a very famous designer. I am so excited to welcome Donald Deal. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm well, and you?
I'm doing fabulous. We were talking before the cameras started rolling about the fact that we are both from the Midwest.
Yes. I love that sensibility, don't you?
Yes, I do. You know, that work ethic has always served me very well. I love
Mhm.
what I do, but I think that when you come from the Midwest, at least I know that's stereotypical of us to say, but there's a certain way of like, you get up when the sun rises and you don't go to bed until like the wee hours because you love what you do and you just keep going. So it doesn't ever really seem like work. So,
Right. Agreed.
yeah.
I also, like, for me, it's a very practical, hands-on thing for work because things have to function as well as be beautiful for me. So there is a thought process that transcends just a pretty dress.
Now, at what age did you realize that you had this sensibility about you that you were going to be able to work with cloth and to create these like beautiful masterpieces of art? How did you know in your own intuition, your own soul?
It was always in my head, but my mother tells the story that I used to go with her to the grocery store and I would stop women at random and tell them that they would be very pretty if they would change X, Y, and Z. And sometimes they thought it was amusing and sometimes not. So I was kind of told to stop, but it was an inherent thing from very early.
And did your mom kind of work with you? Did she let you like go through her closet and kind of pick out looks and things for her that you thought would look nice on her? Did she ever like rely on you for that?
Actually, it was the other way around. She taught me a lot. She was really someone that had very good taste and simple taste. And I always looked at her and I was thinking, wow, that's pretty amazing. And it's so clean and it's so modern looking for the time, which was the 60s, which was my very favorite time in fashion because of that. It was clean and it was very just beautiful.
I have to agree. In fact, some of our studios, our decor is like 1960s. We've got like the lamp that's got the three cones on it and things like that. I love that aesthetic as well. Now I know that you have a birthday as we're taping this. It's coming up, so I just want to say happy birthday to you. And
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Because birthdays to me are very special. Because we only have
Me
like one of
too.
them, right? And so I like
Absolutely.
it to be celebratory. You have had some extraordinary success in being a designer. Can you share with us a little bit about the journey? I mean, because there's so many things on here. It's like, okay, there's
Right.
Broadway, and there's this, and there's that, and there's this red carpet, and it's
Right.
pretty wonderful thus far.
Yeah, I think I've been really blessed, and I honestly have to tell you, I one thing just went into the next, to the next, to the next, and it was only recently that I pulled out my archives and started really looking at the achievements because I never really thought about it at the time. But I've met some amazing people and had some great, great work experience. And it really is what makes me happy. I mean, I love to put my clothes on people that really appreciate and understand and that are going into the right place. And so, what red carpet, Emmy Awards, Oscars, I mean, those things are just, they're essential when you do what I do. So, it really worked out beautifully.
Who is one celebrity that sticks out in your mind as someone that when you put the gown on them, you kind of felt like that's exactly what you wanted it to look like? Was there like, I'm sure every time you put something on, you're not going to let them walk out into something that doesn't have your signature on it. But was there like a time in particular you stood back and you were like, wow, that's exactly what I intended and it's perfect?
I think that happens a lot. The problem is that they don't always agree. So sometimes you're at the mercy of a stylist and or a boyfriend or husband, and sometimes they're like, "Well, maybe we should do this and maybe we should do that." And so my eye is pretty objective. I look at people and I try to play up the assets and I try to distract from the liabilities. That's what I do. That's what I think I do well. So, but when you look at you in the mirror, you see a lot of things you maybe don't think are assets. And so we have a little bit of a disagreement at that point. But ultimately, I think I can win them over. I can prove my point because the mirror doesn't lie, and of course, camera doesn't lie, and that's really important in that world because what they look like on camera is actually more important than when they look like in reality.
That is so true. You know, they always say that the camera makes you gain 10 pounds, but sometimes a certain angle, and you could look like you gained like, an entire person. You know, like
Correct.
it could be extreme. Sometimes I'll look at myself too and I'll be like, I don't ever want to air that segment. I just look awful. But if I had someone, or if I was wearing something as stylish that was built for my silhouette, then I would know
Right.
that every time I walked out the door that I was like, wow, like an absolute
Right.
10. So, when you can you
Absolutely.
talk to us about your education and some of the migration that you made because you went from Indiana to California? Let's talk about that too.
So when I first went to California, I went to Otis Parsons, which was then a design school. I don't think it exists anymore. I think it has been absorbed by um, uh, Parsons, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, and I also went to LA Trade and Technical School because they had one of the best tailoring programs going at the time. And I really wanted to be full range. So my head was telling me that I needed to learn as much as I could on other people's dime so that when I started my own business, I wouldn't make the mistakes that could cost me the business. And so I was really hell-bent, if you will, about learning things and watching people do things. And even if it just meant that I could pick up somebody else's pins and I could watch, I learned something. So I feel like I learned a lot in the first years of my life in terms of professional. And I am grateful every day because it did help me from not making a lot of mistakes that a lot of designers make when they start.
And when it comes to fabrics, when it comes to securing things, is there a certain texture or type of material that you just love working with?
Well, for me, it's all about the hand. And if I can't touch it and feel it and imagine myself wrapped in it, I don't want to work in it. So this is sort of the disconnect that I have with buying clothes online is that you don't see them as they really are and you don't get to feel them. Something looks amazing, but it like chafes you or scratches you or itches you. Who wants it? I don't. But if something feels, really luxurious, like I line all of my clothes in silk charmeuse, and my tagline for years was people would say, it's so beautiful, but what underwear do I wear under it? And I said, you don't. You wear perfume and you smile. And that's how it should be because it feels sensual.
You brought back a little childhood memory for me, and that was when my mom, my mother in the 70s, for whatever reason, the style was very tight elastic with like a little poofy sleeve and like also somehow elastic around my neck. And I'm envisioning now, I'm talking to you, Donald, my mother having to clip the elastic because it didn't feel good. And I was always
Right,
like miserable, miserable. So
right.
every time she'd buy me something, she'd have to like clip that elastic in the sleeve. So but you're right. It needs to feel luxurious. It needs to feel wonderful, and it just needs to feel sometimes like you just have nothing on, where the clothing is just
Correct.
like gracing and walking through life just like you are. When you attend like some of these wonderful fashion parties and things of this nature, or these celebrity events, what do you like to wear as a designer? How do you like to enter a room?
Well, I'm generally very simple, and I I have a very simple black velvet jacket that I wear in the fall winter. That's not a traditional jacket. It's kind of like just a button front, very simple jacket with a pair of either flannel pants or something. I mean, I like very classic, but that feels good. Things that I can, function in. And I may throw on a scarf. I love jewelry. I'm a brooch kid like crazy. Um, and I see that it's very big right now in men's apparel, so it makes me very happy. Um, but generally, I tend to be simple, and I am always on the lookout because my eye trips over things that are incorrect, in my opinion. So if I see something that's like the wrong bag, the wrong shoe, the dress doesn't go with the body, I mean, it trips my eye. Success to me in dressing is you can wear anything, any color, any size, any statement if it looks well on who you are and you can pull it off because it's an attitude. Fashion is an attitude.
Oh, I love that. I need that as a bumper sticker. Not that I'd actually put it on my car, but I love those I love those humorous invigorating statements. And it is an attitude. And I always dress depending on what I have going on for the day, right? So like I'll wake
Right.
up and I'll if I look great after I shower and I put something on, I'll look in the mirror and it makes your whole attitude for the day. So like
Sure.
today, like I know I don't have the right shoes with this outfit, but it didn't ruin my day. So, but I certainly could use the fashion police. I'm not the best dresser. I have fun with what I wear, and I guess that's also important. But one of the things I wanted to ask you too is that I found out from someone that they're going to be making a documentary about your life. And how do you feel about that? Because you're not done yet, obviously, Donald. You still have more to accomplish.
Yeah.
But what are you
Yeah.
thinking
I'll be
about
making
that?
dresses till I'm about 200, I think. Um, the documentary was an interesting project because, again, you achieve so much in your life, and I'm sure you are also in that same genre where you don't take the time to think about all the things that you've done or the people you've talked to. And then something jars you, and you kind of go, wow, there's boxes and boxes and boxes of moments
Mm.
that were really special, but I don't really think I ever took the time to enjoy them while they happened because you just go from the next to the next to the next. So the documentary was it was a time for me to really look back and go, wow, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty impressive. And I really feel grateful, really grateful that at this point in my life, I've touched so many other lives and I've tried to put forth a beautiful extension of myself to fit into other people's lives. And that's really important to me. I mean, it's a legacy, if nothing else, that I can be proud of, that I touched people's lives in a positive way.
You indeed have. You certainly have. From all of the different television shows and the award shows, and just from what I've heard feedback, from different clients and things that you've worked with, you're an amazing person. And like I said, I know your birthday is coming up now, and I just celebrate you. And before we wrap up, can you tell me about the gown behind you? It's got like some
Oh,
beautiful.
it's well, for me, it's a very simple, like, sheath gown. It's all about the color, and then it's got this capelet of tulle, which is with burnt ostrich and coke feathers and sequins sort of splattered. So it has a drama, but it's very elegant. It's giving you a little arm coverage, but your back is completely out. It's just a really beautiful way to present yourself without having something overwhelm you. And those to me are the best clothes on the planet because you are the painting, the clothes are the frame. And I know it sounds cliche, but people should look you in the eye and tell you you're beautiful. And oh, yeah, your dress is too.
But of course, if they're wearing a Donald deal, that's a big deal in itself. So I thank you for joining me. Happy journeys to you always. And I hope that we'll get to meet in the three-dimensional world, especially since we're both on the East Coast.
Absolutely. That would be lovely. It was my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Donald.
you.
Happiness to you. Be well. Thank you again.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.